So the Pittsburgh Steelers are a complete and utter mess right now.
Oh no! We suck again!
The offense is completely incompetent. Kenny Pickett really isn't playing too well. And to make matters even worse, Matt Canada. This really feels like it could be the first losing season under Mike Tomlin, and fans and analysts alike seem to be pointing the fingers at one man. But first, thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. NFL fans, the season is starting to heat up with big plays and even bigger wins. This video is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official partner of the NFL, and I'm here to share an exciting new offer with you. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up using our code JDPROD. That's right, new customers bet just $5 and receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. Whether you're a Saturday college football fan or die hard for the NFL, DraftKings has betting options for you. DraftKings customers can also get skin in the game with same game parlays, where you can combine multiple bets from the same game for a chance at an even bigger payout. If you're already signed up for DraftKings like me, you can get a no sweat bet each game day through September. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use our promo code JDPROD, bet just $5 on any wager and receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code JDPROD only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Thank you again to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. Let's get right back to it. This really feels like a team that lacks consistency, and a lot of that is really due to the poor performance of the offense. The offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers is absolutely terrible. There's no way to sugarcoat it, and it feels like every single Steelers fan out there wants Matt Canada gone, and for good reason. In Week 4, the Steelers got absolutely blown out by the Houston Texans, who, by the way, have a rookie quarterback, a new head coach, and just had the second overall pick in the NFL draft. This is not a team that anyone really expected to be that good, and they looked pretty damn good against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers got clapped by the Texans 30-6, and it wasn't ever really close. Houston was up 16-0 at the half, and the Steelers' offensive struggles definitely continued into the second. As a matter of fact, the Steelers didn't even score a single touchdown in the game. Kenny Pickett was underwhelming, which seems to be a common theme week in and week out this season, going 15 of 23 for 114 yards and an interception. He's just been really disappointing this year. To make matters even worse, his top receiver on the day was Najee Harris, who had just one catch for 32 yards. That's just embarrassing. The offense looked terrible, and it got to the point where a first down felt like a win in this game. Safe to say, things didn't get any better later in the game because Kenny Pickett injured his knee late in the game and had to leave the game while Mitch Trubisky came in relief. Now, it ended up just being a bone bruise, and we'll have to wait and see if he plays, but Pickett did come out and say that he will be ready for Sunday. The Steelers started the season with a huge 30-7 loss to the San Francisco 49ers in Week 1, and again, Pickett was under pressure for a lot of the game. They really couldn't get anything going. They trailed 20-0 and just got absolutely crushed. It was a really bad loss. It was their second worst loss of the season, the Texans being their first. Pickett again didn't have a great day, 31 of 46, 232 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. It was ugly, but the 49ers are a really, really good team. I still stand by the fact that I think they're the best team in football right now. So a loss like that wasn't really worth panicking over. They lost to a better team, and that was really it. Then the Steelers went on to have a bit of a run over the next 2 weeks. They ended up winning 26-22 in Week 2 over the Browns, and that's good. They really needed a win after how bad they lost in Week 1, and a win over Cleveland is actually, pretty good in my opinion. Cleveland is an above average team, and for the Steelers to come out and take a win over them, it does look good on their season. As for the score, 26 points looks really good for an offense that hasn't been able to score too much. The only problem there is that the defense scored more points than the offense did. Alex Highsmith had a pick 6 on the first play from scrimmage, and TJ Watt had a 16-yard fumble recovery touchdown in the fourth quarter to take the lead. It was a great win, but the defense really kept them in the game. Again, nothing crazy from Kenny Pickett. He completed 50% of his passes, going 15 of 30, 222 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. interception. I'd have to say probably the best the offenses looked was in week 3, a 23-18 win over the Raiders, who in themselves are also a suspect team. The team looked solid, and so did Kenny Pickett, going 16 of 28, 235 yards and 2 touchdowns. The offense looked fine, and they actually got a win to hang their hat on. That was until the brutal Texans loss. Now, after how last season ended with Kenny Pickett, him heating up and taking care of the ball more and not throwing as many picks, I really thought he was going to come into year 2 and be much better than he played in year 1. But he's really struggled this year. He has a 60.6 completion percentage, 803 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. That's really not great from your starting quarterback. But really, it's been the entire offense that's been disappointing. Only one wide receiver has just over 150 yards. That's George Pickens with 263 and a touchdown. And I really gotta say this, I feel like the Deontay Johnson hamstring injury has really hurt this offense's production. He's been your one for the past few years, and I do think George Pickens is a great wide receiver and could eventually overtake Deontay Johnson as the one, but not having Deontay Johnson on the field really hurts this team. Also, I want to talk about another Steelers wide receiver that I've just been super disappointed with over the last couple of years, and that's Allen Robinson. He just hasn't been doing much and really isn't that good. I loved Allen Robinson back when he was with Chicago. I thought he was incredibly underrated, and I just really loved him as a player. Then when he went to the Rams to play with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and all those guys, I thought Allen Robinson was about to blow up and have a crazy year, and he didn't. It was a disappointing year and a really short-lived tenure in LA. Going into this year, the Steelers swapped 7th with the Rams to get Robinson, and he hasn't really done much in Pittsburgh either. He's a player that I've had high expectations for over the past couple years, and it's really starting to get to the point where I don't think he's the same player he once was, because he was looking good with Mitch Trubisky throwing him the ball. I don't know what's up there, but I don't really believe in Allen Robinson too much anymore. Now, as bad as the passing game has been, the run game has also just been terrible. It's probably an offensive line issue. That offensive line is a revolving door with injuries. Even without the injury problems, they're really not that great of a unit. They're a below average unit that just hasn't been playing too well this year. And because of that, Najee Harris hasn't really had too much production. He has just 210 yards in 4 games without a single rushing touchdown. This offense sucks. It really, really sucks. I went back and I watched through every single game the Steelers have played this year, and I really dove in on watching the Texans game to see what went wrong, and everything went wrong. The team just could not move the ball. It felt demoralizing, and it just did not look good on the Steelers. And all of that really falls on Matt Canada. This offense isn't doing anything. If there's a single stat that gives you insight of just how bad this offense has been, they're averaging a single offensive touchdown every single game this season. And that's really freaking ugly. The Steelers have a limited playbook, there's really no creativity, and honestly, it's a really predictable offense. It feels like everyone in Pittsburgh thinks that Canada needs to be fired, but he hasn't gone anywhere, and it doesn't sound like he will unless Tomlin does. For some reason, I have no clue why, Tomlin believes in this guy. They've kept him in the building, and no matter how much fans express their distaste for this man, he stays in Pittsburgh calling plays. But you don't have to be a genius to see that Matt Canada is a problem in Pittsburgh. The stats don't back him up whatsoever. Since he became the Steelers offensive coordinator in 2021, the Steelers are 19-3-1 when their opponents score less than 22 points. Keep in mind, the league average is 22.4 since 2021. Now, here's where it gets really rough. When their opponent scores more than 22 points, they're just 1-15. This is a team that feels like their wins rely solely on how well their defense plays that week. Their offense is 28th in points scored and 26th in yardage gained. He's bad, and he's holding this team back. I feel like we've gotten to the point where Mike Tomlin just has to make the hard decision to let him go or to not let him go. But I feel like Matt Canada is dragging Tomlin down with him. This year by far is the most I've heard the Mike Tomlin needs to be fired discussion in Pittsburgh. I know over the past couple of years, especially last year, it's not like they were a great team last year either. People did talk about Mike Tomlin being an issue, but really this year it feels like everyone's kind of fed up with the, oh, he hasn't gone under 500 ever type of conversation. Because while that's all well and cool and good for Mike Tomlin's resume, I guess, as a Steelers fan, you don't want to be stuck in mediocrity every single freaking season. And that's really what it's felt like for the past couple of years. It really does feel like his time in Pittsburgh is slowly starting to end. Life after Ben Roethlisberger just hasn't been good. Now, like I said, Tomlin doesn't have a season under 500 since he was hired back in 2007, but they haven't won a playoff game since 2016, 2013 and haven't won the Super Bowl since 2008. And the last time they were in the Super Bowl was back in 2010. You definitely have to wonder if this is his time to kind of step away from the team and start somewhere new. Tomlin's a great coach, and clearly you see that with this record, but it's also like, man, I bet Steelers fans are tired of just going 500 and bragging about it every single year. Now, I doubt Tomlin, after how much history he has with the Steelers organization, would be fired, but if I had to bet, I think he'd probably be asked to leave nicely. But if Tomlin's gonna stay and there's gonna be success with him and Kenny Pickett, Matt Canada needs to go. I love Tomlin, but Canada is bad. And I've really been waiting for him to take shape, but the longer I watch him, I don't really think Kenny Pickett has that it factor. I mean, hey, I really hope I'm wrong. I've been a Kenny Pickett fan. I want to see him succeed, but week in and week out, he just doesn't show me that he's that great. For instance, let's talk about that Texans Steelers game. CJ Stroud is a rookie, just got into the league. Also, doesn't have that great of an offensive line, but already he's shown better decision making, better release time with the ball, and better reading of the defense. I want to believe in Kenny Pickett. With everything that I have, I want to believe in Kenny Pickett, but he hasn't given me much to believe in so far.